So from here to here, you can see the striations too. It is called the
pectoantebrachialis.
Where the striations change at this first one, you see it's more white here, more white here.
That's the pectoralis major.
And the striations completely change if you want to get a little closer with the video. And you can see that these ones are shorter and these ones become a lot longer.
And that's the pectoralis minor.
And the last one is this change here, the change. We kind of messed it up over here, so just remember that. But this is where the change is.
It goes all the way up to the arm, and that's the xiphi humoralis.
So this is the xiphi humoralis. So in this section, we're looking at the
External oblique, it's this flap.
which is this thicker outside flap. And when we go inside, we are looking at right here.
That's the internal oblique.
And then we have this layer of skin that we are concerned about.
So this is the gracilis.
Everything together.
Yeah, and then when we cut that, this is also together. That's the semimembranosus. And then the semitendinosus, it's this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's the muscle that's under like the leg. You can like feel it.
You can feel it, yeah.
And then you have the abductor
Femoris.
Is it the femoris?
Yep.
The femoris, yeah, and then the longus right here.
Is it the abductor longus?
Yeah, the adductor longus, yeah.
Okay.
And they both connect to the femur, which makes sense down there.
So here,
This big muscle, that's the sartorius.
and then it would be here. Because this different shade that's connecting it, so it's kind of all this.
That like triangle thing.
Do you see this darker reddish part right here? This is the
Tensor fasciae latae.
latae.
And then the connective tissue like sheet, that's
white
just
part.
the fascia latae.
Okay. And then here, this big muscle.
What we cut into, bisected, that's the biceps femoris.
Yep.
Femoris.
And then when you gently open it,
You can see the sciatic nerve.
which is this white part, if you can see that in the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can see that right there, that white part. Here we cut into it too much, and if you want to compare it to the left leg, it's right here,
That's
this
the
section.
gluteus medius.
Okay? And then if we go to the next deeper layer right
That's
here,
the gluteus maximus.
and you can see where that white line is.
Where it changes.
Yep.
And then
That's the gluteus
that
maximus.
show
And
where it
then
connects.
you can kind of see it on this leg too, right here. We kind of definitely indented it.
It's almost like 3 different
Yep.
chunks.
And then we go to the
Right there, that line.
right here, and it goes all the way
To the femur.
and you can see the skinny lines outside of it.
That's the gluteofemoralis.
So this is the gluteofemoralis. This one's kind of hard because it is cut into, but again, here is the
The trapezius is made out of 3 parts. This is the clavotrapezius. You can see the striations right here. This is the levator scapula ventralis, because you can see how the striations change between this and that. This is the acromiotrapezius. You can see it's different from this part and this part. And then this part right here is the spinotrapezius, which is it's closest to the spine, which our spine's messed up, but. Okay, so the deltoids are also split up into 3 sections. So you have the clavodeltoid right here. You can see where the striations change. So go ahead, point out
so this is the
that's the clavodeltoid. Now go
On
ahead
this side.
and point out the acromiodeltoid. The acromiodeltoid is between the spinodeltoid and then the acromiotrapezius. So it's just like a little part right here. And it's that muscle. If you feel it, you can feel like the different striations. And then the spinal deltoid comes up through here. You can see where the striations. You have 1, 2, and 3. And then this is the latissimus dorsi. It's a pretty big muscle on like the side of the cat. Can't really get it mixed up. So this muscle right here traces out. That's the splenius. And then under the splenius,
get more into it.
you have the semispinalis cervicis, which is the medial one right here. And then you have the semispinalis capitis, which is the outer one. Okay. And then this is the rhomboid capitis. It goes from here all the way down, and it's like a ribbon-like structure. And then you have the rhomboid major and posterior, so it's this muscle. This is the major. It runs parallel to the capitis, and then this is the posterior. It's a little V. So this middle one is the longissimus, and it goes all the way down here. And then these two, like thick muscles on each side of the spine, those are also the longissimus, and they make up the erector spinae group. And then over the spine, you have the multifidus. It's just the muscle group over the spine. And then you have the spinalis, which is above the longissimus, and then under the longissimus, it's kind of like, you can see it, they're like separated, like blocks almost, and that is the ilia cristalis.
This particular
Right here is the temporalis. It's kind of the back part of the head that we took off. And then if you look to the side of it, the main jaw muscle is the masseter. It's a giant muscle right here. And then above here, right under the ear, you have the parotid gland. It's all this like red right here. And it's kind of this chunk, but it's directly under the ear, so remember that. And then if you flip it, you can see the mandibular salivary gland right here. It's kind of defined. It's like a circular, like globular structure. It's right under the mouth. And then you have this is the digastric right here within these two bellies. And then the mylohyoid is within the digastric. It's a muscle if you can go in. The cleidomastoid is going to be right here, like right here. Cleidomastoid, you can see that big muscle. So this flap covering the trachea, that's the sternohyoid, just like this part of it, okay? And then you have the trachea in here. You can see it. It's just like a tube. And then this is the sternothyroid muscle. It's pretty big. It's under the trachea. Muscle right here, you can see it's defined. It's only muscle, and that's the teres major.
Yeah.
And then under it, if you pull it, is the supraspinatus. There you go, yeah. It's right under the teres major.
Supraspinatus, infraspinatus.
Scapularis is under the scapula. It's all the muscles under here. In that muscle group. A bottom part of the scapula, you have the teres minor, which is the opposite of the major, which is on the top part of the bone. And then right above the teres major, see how the striations change? That is the infraspinatus muscle right there. And then down here, you can see this muscle group right here, and that is the serratus anteriorly, right there. So this whole muscle, go ahead, Alexia, show it right there. That is the epitrochlearis, and then where your thumb is, under there, that is the brachialis. It's deep to the biceps brachii. If you flip it over, let's flip the cat over. These two big muscles are the triceps brachii, and then this muscle on like the top part of the arm, where like you would flex like in a human, that is the biceps brachii, which goes beneath, deep, and then that's where the brachialis is. Okay, this is the shoulder muscles. Okay, so you have the supraspinatus, which is this big one right here, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4 down, number 7, and this is the infraspinatus. Skip, and then usually this is covering, and
Number 8 is the
teres minor, and then number 9
is the teres major.
5's on the opposite side, and that is the subscapularis. It's like the big one back here.
We have the muscles of the upper limb.
So the 11, this number 11 is the biceps brachii, along with 12 and 13. They connect and go into it.
So the whole thing is the biceps brachii.
So here we are looking still at the upper limb.
The triceps brachii consists of 3 parts. So 16 is this big muscle right here. It goes all the way down. And then 17 is the middle muscle. And then which 17 is also like the triceps brachii, and then 18 is also the triceps brachii.
So that makes up the whole triceps brachii.
14. Okay, so this is the brachialis. It is between the biceps brachii and the triceps brachii, yeah. Brachialis.
So now we're looking at the muscles of the arm.
So this shell-like muscle, the big one, is the deltoid. It's on the top of the shoulder. And then this is on the bottom of the radius. And the big one is the brachioradialis. And then the middle one is the extensor carpi radialis longus. And then the smallest one is the extensor carpi radialis brevis.
Yeah.
So now it's on the bottom
palms
side.
open.
Yeah. And you have the pronator teres, it's the little one. And then the flexor carpi radialis, which is the middle one. So then 25 is on the outside of the arm. It's like the lateral
Like
side.
right to the pinky.
Yep, right to the pinky. And that is the flexor carpi ulnaranus, which would make sense because it's on the ulna.
Palm side up.
Yeah, the palm side up. You have the flexor digitorum superficialis. It's like this like anchor looking one. And then the one that is pressed up against the side right here, that's the flexor digitorum profundus. And then put this back on. So now on the top side of the hand and arm, you have the extensor digitorum, which goes to the
kind of
fingers,
goes
yeah.
to the
digits.
middle finger. So middle finger, extensor digitorum. So now we will be looking at the muscles of the hip.
So the big muscle is the gluteus maximus, it's detachable. Then you have the gluteus medius directly underneath and the gluteus minimus.
Piriformis, gluteus minimus.
Yeah.
Just remember piriformis. So now we're going to be talking about the muscles of the thigh.
Okay, so this is the inner thigh. You have this one coming over everything. That is the sartorius. And then if you look on the inner thigh, this giant muscle, that is the gracilis. And if you turn to the back of the leg, you have on the lateral side, the biceps femoris and the caudo femoris, which is femoralis, which is underneath. So those two go together. This one, and then this one over it.
And that is the what?
It is the biceps femoris caudo femoralis.
So now we're going to be working with the muscles of the thigh.
Okay, so this is the back of the leg. This one comes off, and on each side of it, you have the semimembranosus. Okay, semimembranosus on both sides. And then gracilis. So on the left side of the gracilis, you have the adductor femoris, and then on the right side, it's like this thicker, bulgy one. You have the adductor longus.
Adductor longus, gracilis, and 28 is the
Adductor
abductor
femoris.
femoris.
So on the outer part of the thigh, right at the top, this round, oval, whatever shape you want to call it, that is the tensor fasciae latae. Okay. And then we move on to the quadriceps complex. You have the vastus medialis, which is under like the sartorius. Okay, so if you take the sartorius off, that is the vastus medialis. It's like a giant teardrop. And then you have this muscle is the rectus femoris. It's directly like it connects to the kneecap, so it's like the front one. And then on the opposite side, the lateral side right here, you have the vastus lateralis, which makes sense, lateral. And then on the inside, you have vastus intermedius, which makes sense because it's inside, intermedius.
Now we will begin to work with the calf muscles.
This long sheet-like white muscle right here, that is the iliotibial tract. It's made of connective tissue. And then you have the tibialis anterior, which is on the medial side of the back of the leg. And then if you look under the gastrocnemius right here, you have the soleus. It's this white sheet right here. This duo right here, that's the gastrocnemius, which is the main calf muscle.